Well, I first moved here to the Fox Hill area of Hampton in 2005 and really didn't have any issues with water until about 2009 when the 3-day nor'easter hit. And at that time, I was out on my front porch frantically trying to measure and see how far it was before the water came into my house. And I was really lucky, even though we were surrounded here and it looked like we were in a lake. For 3 days, the water didn't come in. And since then, in the 9 years, we haven't had anything even close to that. But those 3 hurricanes last year have certainly put an edge on things. And you can't live in Hampton without thinking about how are you going to live with water. The city's been very proactive. They've held community forums to talk about mitigation and what they can do. But the fact is there are limited resources. And we all know that eventually, with sea level rise, which is happening faster than we thought it would be, we're all going to probably have to leave, whether we want to or not. And that's a tough thing. There's a lot of grief involved with that for folks. This is an old established community. I think most of us love living here, love being by the bay. It's 5 minutes away. I'm right by an inlet for the back river. And we will probably stay until we can't stay anymore. But there are financial burdens with that. The cost of flood insurance. I have three friends who have been flooded out more than once. They've decided to stay. They're close to family, close to their jobs, and they're a little concerned about being able to sell their homes. And you can see there's a ditch right here, so all the runoff from the neighborhood kind of goes into that ditch. It's silted in, which is a problem. I mean, it's expensive to dredge that. So some of the things actually we've done in our area, or in my backyard, to handle flooding is I do container gardening now. I don't plant hardly anything in the ground anymore. I pick saltwater tolerant plants. We don't play ball with our dogs in the backyard anymore because we want to preserve the turf and keep the soil from going into the river. And we also are getting ready to plant 2 big trees here. I went to a class with the Chesapeake Bay Foundation and I talked about the importance of having broad canopy trees to help slow heavy rainfall to help with flooding, because it's not just coastal flooding, it's those heavy rainfall events that are an issue here for us. Being in the Air Force and traveling all around the country, I think I stayed in Hampton because it's a real jewel on the Chesapeake Bay, and it offers a lot of things as far as great weather, a lot of activities, great places to go. So that was not a decision I took lightly. And knowing that this is not where I'm probably going to get planted when the end comes is a little hard. You know, it's hard to deal with. But that's true up and down the coast here. It's not just Hampton. It's up and down the coast. And when you look at those maps, you know, that NOAA puts out, and the city's been really good about talking about the flood zones and evacuation and things, the information is surrounding you. You can't ignore it. It's happening. It's going to happen. Something I read yesterday said 5.5 more inches in 12 years. And that 5.5 inches is exactly what was the tipping point for having the 2009 nor'easter water come into my house. So, I mean, how many times can you rebuild? How many times can you reinvest back into a community when you know it's going to happen again?